So it's really going to take society is accepting it, but she was just explaining to me, like, because she's probably like in her 50s, 60s. It's like, but we've not seen so much of this. So that's why when you get little comments like that, don't be too offended. We're happy to see it, but it hasn't been a norm for so long. So with it happening now, we just have to normalize it.
Let's impact some today. I think we're going to do a great job.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Modern Man Podcast, where we are here to connect men in pursuit of their potential. I encourage you to join us as we embrace discomfort, cultivate community, and put wind in each other's sails. Also, before we jump into the episode, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. And don't forget to check out the Noble Knights Mastermind Group. That's where you can find a community of men, the support, accountability, and the mentorship you need to achieve your goals. Join us and become a part of a community of like-minded men on a mission to improve themselves and elevate their capacity for life. Guys, I'm excited to get some wind in our sails today from father of Landon and Lennox, founder of Active Dad. It is my pleasure to have Modd Torrance on the podcast. Modd, great to have you on, brother.
What's up, my boy? Hey, I've been waiting for the opportunity. I made it into the Cool Kids Club to be on your podcast. So, hey, I'm just thankful, bro. How you feeling today?
Oh man, blessed and highly favored. I'm glad we got to get you on, and it's definitely an honor to have you on. And I'm excited to hop into the conversation, man. And as I always start the episode with, I know I like to give the introduction, but I also like to step out of the way and give my guests an opportunity to introduce themselves in their own words. I feel as it's very powerful when we allow ourselves to introduce ourselves in our own right. So please take the microphone, take the podcast. It's yours. Talk to the people who are listening or watching on YouTube. Let them know who you are, what you do, and then we could jump into the conversation, man.
All right, everyone. So once again, thanks for having me. But my name is Modd Torrance, and I am the founder of the Active Dad. I'm a proud father of two kids. I have an 8-year-old son, Landon, and my 5-year-old daughter, Lennox. And a little bit about me. I'm originally from Savannah, Georgia. I relocated to Charlotte. I've been here 7 years now, within the North Carolina area. And when I first had my son, I just realized, hey, there's a lot of community for everyone else. And what about community for dads? That was one of the founding and the most pivotal points of Active Dad. I started out creating merch, and then from making the cool dad merch, it just grew into something beautiful. So as of now at Active Dad, we are an organization that focuses on just similar to UTED. We focus on creating that community and that network for dads to bond. We just do that through hella dope events and just allowing and fostering those communities and also those safe spaces for guys to be vulnerable, meet with other guys, and just grow together from there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. A lot of synergies, which is why it's an honor to have you on the podcast, man. And I know we have a lot of things going on, and both of us being in the Charlotte area, we could put wind in each other's sails and really get things going for both of our missions. But it's just starting off on the inception of all of this. What inspired you to become an advocate for active fatherhood, right? What showed you the path that you ended up on, and what was the catalyst that sent you that in that direction?
So what honestly pushed me to become an advocate for fatherhood was once I had my son and I knew how I was with my child, how my friends were, how we were active. We would always do things together, but it wasn't a lot of that. When I would look online, look within the community, you would oftentimes see a lot of things for moms and for mothers and support groups for them. And it wasn't a lot of that for dads. So with that being said, when I started the organization, I honestly just wanted to get guys together, have play dates with their kids, and just fellowship. I've always been someone. One of my line brothers told me years ago that I'm a social entrepreneur. So whatever space I'm in, I feel the need to create. So if I don't see the resolution or the solution for what I want, I'm like, you know what? All right, cool. Let's get to the drawing board and let's figure it out. So from doing that, man, it just evolved from we had the play dates, and after the play dates and the merch, we had our first virtual guys summit about two years ago. We had about 60 guys and this was during the pandemic that attended on Zoom. And from there, just seeing the need and the response and the support that I always got, that has continued to push me and also fuel me to do the work, man.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic, and kudos to what you've been able to do and what you've been able to accomplish in the past 4 years, man. Um,
Yeah,
and this has been 4 years in the running, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So in those past 4 years, I know oftentimes we start an endeavor and it's something where we could have 90% or 100% of the plan worked out. But I always say with a business
yeah.
plan, right? You have the business plan, 10% of it is only what you're gonna do. 90% you can throw out the window because life's gonna happen, things are gonna change and all
Exactly.
that. But in the process of the last 4 years, as active dad has continued to evolve and you have everything going on, how has that experience impacted your role as a father of Landon and Lennox?
It's impacted me as a father by, I would say, just motivating me to be the best dad that I could be. One of the great things that I do enjoy is from being able to connect with other people, and I apply this to just life in general. You know, when you surround yourself with like-minded people, or let's say people that may be a little higher up than you, when you view that from a lens of fatherhood, it could be just individuals that have older kids than you, that have been through more, that have experienced more. It pours back into you. Say, hey, it's going to confirm what you're doing, or it's going to also allow you to be like, you know what, let me kind of tweak what I'm doing right now. Because as you know, and I know you're a newer dad, but there is no rule book when it comes to fatherhood. Especially within my situation, because my oldest is on the autism spectrum, and then my youngest is 5. So you know, with him, and then he's a boy, so that's a lot of black man, being on the spectrum, all of those things. With that, my experience is going to be a little bit different from others, but still somewhat similar, within there. So, especially from that aspect, meeting other guys with kids on the spectrum, I was able to learn, what's working for them, what isn't. And then when it comes to my 5-year-old daughter, who has the house flipped upside down on a weekly basis, I just learned, how to parent, because you're not going to parent each child the same. But with sticking to the question, just with active dad, I would say one of the biggest impactful things has been forming these relationships with other dads. And in whatever areas I feel like I've ever lacked, I've had instant support and fellas and brothers to lean on that would help.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic, man. It's almost like you're looking at my notes because I was going to segue perfectly into the community aspect because
Yeah.
you mentioned with active dads, and I love your shirt. My family loves your shirt. My in-laws love your shirt. You know,
Hey.
active dads. That
After
one,
that is
active
on.
dads only. The shirt I was rocking was active dads do exist, or good dads do
Yeah.
exist. You know, but you mentioned early on there wasn't a lot of that you saw. Um,
Yeah.
how is your personal experience and in that lack, right? Seeing that
Hmm.
solution, how has community and brotherhood been a solution, not just for yourself, but for some of the other dads and the active dads that you've been able to work with?
Yeah. Um, it's been a solution because it's allowed me to meet complete strangers, and we all become brothers. With me, I'm very extroverted, so I'll meet people online, I'll meet people in person, and since forming the community, just some of the conversations, I actually got a message from one of the new guys in our fitness dad tribe on Ray, and he was just saying, I've been looking for guys like this for been a long time, because lots of times you may find gentlemen that are, that are active dads, but may not also be into health and fitness and mental health in that area. So like just that balance. So when it comes to the community, it's growing and it's blossoming into something I would say very unique, and it's showing that guys do have interest, in being the best fathers. Guys are interested in being vulnerable when it comes to their kids, and then also themselves, their mental health, what they need assistance with, when they are struggling with things and want to actually lean on other guys as well. So as of now, it started off, and all of this started off here, centralized in Charlotte. Once I got here, and I had a group of guys that I would hang out with. And once we did the ice cream with dad, and then once I began to put more stuff on social media, and this is honestly transparent, been within the last 2 years. The first 2 years, you know how you do stuff, but like you said, life is going to happen. Your dad, your husband, you have a job, you're trying to do it all. So within the last 2 years, I've just been like, you know what, let's be very intentional with this. And from me just pouring a little bit more into that, the vision has expanded, the brand is growing, and I've been able to attract and meet a lot of other guys that are coming to help along the way, build a community. We have Dad Tribe meetings every third Wednesday of the month. And on those calls, we talk about anything from what are you struggling with today? What's good, bro, as a check-in, all the way down to the last big meeting we had was, am I the dad I needed as a kid as well? So with men, once you place us in a room and you see that you're not alone with your struggles, that just opens the door for a lot more.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic, and that's been the biggest um, thing I've ever seen with my community beforehand is the reality of like, man, you're not alone. Your problems aren't your own because as men,
Yeah,
we are so isolated sometimes, and we will
exactly.
focus on isolation and be like, okay, I can figure this out, and we try and use logic to overcome emotion, and sometimes it doesn't add up. But to have someone
Yeah,
else look at you like, hey, man, I've been through this, or I've been something through something similar, this is how I approached it, this is how I figured it out, or the fact of this is how I'm surviving, and you're not
yeah.
alone, that just opens up, okay, so I'm not
That
crazy.
it opens up so much when you it's like, dog, he's going through that too. Like, and you know us as guys, we're not just going to open up and tell people what's going on. For the most part,
Hmm.
you're like, hey, what's going on, bro? I'm good. Your life can be falling apart, and you're like, oh yeah, little here and there, but I'm good, man. How you been? And you're gonna throw it off onto the next person. So we've been seeing a lot of, once we have these conversations and we open up about these things, it just really allows guys to be a little bit more comfortable, which I think this isn't something that our society and culture is used to. And I think within the work that I'm doing with Active Dad, even the work that you're doing with your brand as well, we got a lot of work ahead of us with this, because we're pushing this narrative and we're doing a really good thing, but it's really going to take a lot more work, a lot more guys being vocal to really shift and turn this thing around for us.
Yeah. And a lot of it is like you mentioned, is just leading by example. And
Yeah,
what I try to do is I just try and emulate some of the values and some of the foundational things I've adopted throughout the way from following the attributes and the virtues of other men. My father being one of them, friends of mine, mentors of mine, coworkers. I think we can pull so much value from other men, and no man is a
yeah,
template, but we can pull the benefits and the best of others to then create
yeah.
ourselves into an image. You mentioned the active part, and that's something we have in common, man. I got to get my run game up, but I'm in the gym. I get my heart rate up. I'm doing
Yeah,
a lot more cardio with the rowing and the workouts,
yeah,
and it's almost I'm not even going to say almost. Take out the word almost. It is a foundational thing
yeah,
for me. Even my wife knows. She's like, hey, you should hit the gym because
yeah.
you're not yourself when you're not hitting the gym on a regular
Bruh,
basis.
if I don't work out, it's evident
Yeah.
to, like it, because I'm a 5 a.m. gym guy. If I don't work out, everyone in my house is aware. Even my manager at work, she knows. My previous manager, it would be funny. Someday she would like, "You worked out this morning?" You're like, "Yeah." She's like, "I can
Hmm.
tell. I can
Eh,
tell."
how does that active aspect play into the foundation of active dads, right? Why is it so important to have that virtue or that value of fitness?
And with this is honestly something that when I was mapping out last year, there were different phases, and I wanted to add an active component, as in um, working out. Because initially, it was active dad, be there, be present for your kids. Where I am now and how everything is moving so fast and growing so fast, like now it's the kid part of it. Now it's the fitness part of it as well. Just the mental, spiritual, all of those things. When it comes down to fitness, I would say it's so it just gives you so much clarity. I think when you begin the day that way, I'm a Christian, so I'll wake up, I'll, pray in the mornings on the way to the gym. I typically listen to like some sort of positive podcast. I usually start the Mindset Mentor podcast. It's only about 15 minutes about, something like really starting your day and getting up in your mental health. Then when I get to the gym, it's just those endorphins are getting released from pulling and throwing those weights in some crazy way.
Mhm.
Stairmaster running and doing all of those things. And some of the guys that I work out with, typically they're through Active Dad, but we all go to the same gym. And it's kind of like, remember when we would watch sitcoms and TV shows growing up, and you see like the guys there at the gym early in the morning before work, they're
Yeah.
just like talking and doing whatever. We began to realize that that's actually pretty therapeutic. that you're doing that. Like you're starting off the day. If there was any grievances you weren't able to talk to anyone about the day before, bring it up in the gym. Everybody's, chiming in, doing whatever while we're still getting that work in. And then by the end of the workout, it's like, you know what? Boom.
Yeah.
Hold on, guys. This is very active. Baby, daddy's doing something. No. Oh, thank you, baby. All right, thank you
that,
so much. Daddy's doing something, okay?
that right there.
It's not just a t-shirt.
Yeah. Hey, listen, and I am not gonna edit that out. We're
Because
leaving
she
that
came in
in.
here. Hey, she came here early, and I'm like trying to snap like low key, but then like this time I'm like, that's the one that doesn't care. So I'm like, that's not gonna hold on, guys. Daddy
Yeah.
doing something.
This is exactly active dad
Yeah.
out here doing it. Mod, man, this is great because the next question is, what advice would you give to any of the new fathers that are listening? Right? They
Yeah.
a lot of the guys listening, they already have a fitness routine. If they pick up on the values that we're about, they're elevating their capacity for life, and if anything,
Yeah.
becoming a father is something they've looked forward to. But now it's here, and they got
Yeah.
this little I call my good little girl the little engine, little peanut, whatever
Oh.
you want to call it, because she would go from like first to second and third gear with the crying. If she got past
Yeah.
third gear, it was a wrap. We're going all the way up to fifth gear. There's no going
It's
down.
over with, man.
But someone's sitting there with their little bundle of joy, and they've
Yeah.
prepared themselves for this moment, and now there's that. Oh shit! Right? Like they're a dad.
Yeah.
What
It's here.
advice do you give them?
It's happening. Um, Take your time and go into it. As men, we're solution based. We have to plan everything. We have to, know how we're going into. There's a game plan that we always have. Whatever plan that you have, I'm 50% sure you're gonna have to flip it. Is not gonna go as planned. So I just always tell guys, for one, give yourself grace. We're all new to this. Don't be as hard on yourself. Always tweak your plan. Does what works for you now, it may not work for you next week. Allow yourself to lean on your partner as well. Support your partner. Whether it's wife, girlfriend, however the situation is. Just lean on each other for that support, because you guys are going to have to work together, especially in the earlier ages, because that's when, like you said, baby's crying, they're up late at night, all of those things. So create schedules, what works for you. But I'm really big on routine. Try to stick to a routine, because my family's values are on like routines and structure and
Mhm.
doing those things. And as an adult, I see now that my mom making me get up early in the morning as a kid and still having to do all those things, it carries out throughout adulthood. So I would say just stick to those routines, but then also stick to those routines for yourself as well. Because life, once you have kids, I know you can speak to it. Life happens. What you think the day is going to look like, it may not look like that. So give yourself grace.
Yeah.
Just give yourself grace and enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride, and find community. You can always tap in with us, tap in with you. Just anyone that you have around, just find that community, because community always makes things better.
Man, I love that. That's fantastic. And when I talk about having the plan ready to shift, I mean, the wife's
Boy.
looking good. I'm looking good. We're about to go out to dinner. Baby girl, she
Yeah.
hasn't really gone to the bathroom for a while. And needless to say, before walking out the door, we got to run a bath and
Bam. Now you got to
change
run the
the
whole
outfit.
Like, you know what? Let's just get Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
Let's just get
Like, yeah.
Chick-fil-A.
It's like, we're probably going to be a little late. You're probably going to be a little late. um, wh- what are some ways some guys listening, um
Mhm,
they might be past the new father stage, they might have some of the youngins getting to that age where they're playing a little
mhm.
bit more? What are some ways dads can get more active, or they can increase the activity, whether it be in their lives, in their kids lives? uh, what ways would you recommend that fathers tap into that active dad value?
um, Active as in like just doing things, as in like workout wise, just in
I'm
general,
going
just
from
doing
top to
anything,
bottom,
just to
workout
top to
wise, or
bottom.
something with the kids, and you can cover the
Yeah.
whole gambit and everything in between.
Okay. For one, I would say if your kids are a little older, try to incorporate them in the things that you do. My kids, I've been running for like I began running like 2011, 2012, because I'm not the athlete. I just was like, hey, I'm tired of being fat. I need to lose some weight. Let's get into something. So I began running. I run now. Sometimes my kids will come to Mad Mouse with me. But even when I run around the neighborhood, like they'll see that, like, hey, Dad, what you doing? I'm about to go running, to the point where now I'll force them to call me sometimes. Like, hey, come on, we're just gonna walk around the block, walk around the neighborhood, or we'll run. That they're to the point now when they want to run, they'll take off and start running. But I think exposing my kids to that at a young age, it has them, they see the importance of working out. My daughter will say little things like, I'm strong because I'm working out and I'm doing this and I do that. So I'm realizing that they pick up on those things. So you may not be a runner, like whatever your hobbies are. Some guys may be into video games. Introduce your kids to video games as well. If you do work out, like the little walks, going to the park, doing things of that nature, finding those common interests for me works. And I think it's very important because the things that we pour into our kids at a young age, as I stated from my parents earlier, this is what's going to carry them through. Um, I'm really big on service. I'm really big on giving back. I don't know where my son heard donating, but I was talking about donating one day, and he's like, "Yeah, I have some toys that I want to donate." And I'm just like, "Okay, cool. You want to donate your toys?" But because exposing your kids to so much is important. I think, doing that at an early age would carry it through with them. Even in the house, something I had to learn is you have to play into the strengths of your kids as well. Um, Lots of times, I talked about this on a podcast before. A lot of times, guys have kids and they want to live out all of their fantasies and dreams that they didn't get a chance to do. And I think it's natural to want to do those things. Like, I wasn't a big athlete, so I'm like, hey, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put them in this, put them in that. But your kid may not like that either. So whatever your kid is into, lean into that. Landon does love sports. He just started baseball. He does soccer at his school as well. About to put my daughter in dance as well. I can see she's picking up on those things. So what they have those common interests in. But outside of that, Landon is very big on animals and YouTube. I always tell people I have one kid watching National Geographic, the other one is watching God knows what on TV. So with that, leaning into it, hey, all right, so you want books about lizards? I'm not into lizards, but that's your thing. Cool. You like rocks and all kind of other cool stuff, not knocking them, because I've seen and I've experienced, conversations with guys, really like older guys, that will not do what their kids are doing because they don't feel like that's what they're supposed to be doing. And as a parent, I do feel that we should strong arm some things. Um, I'm telling people I'm gentle-ish when it comes to parenting. So, let them be expressive, let them do those things. But there's some things, nah, you're going to do this because I told you. You're going to do this. You'll understand later on why with that. So, just finding that balance, I think, will set a good foundation, and then from there, it will allow dads to grow and just tweak things with their kids.
I love that, man. What has been the most surprising revelation you've had through this active dad journey? Sitting in community with the other brothers, the conversations. What has surprised you the most through these past 4 years?
Um, I would say what surprised me the most has just been how it's received. Just because it is something new. And I had a friend recently who has not had kids, but he is one of my entrepreneur friends that we bounce ideas off and we talk business stuff with. And when he found out he was having a kid, after his wife told him, of course, I was like the first person he called. And that just made me feel good. I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, hey, I'm having a baby. Like, throw it on me. Like, what I need from there. So, yeah, like hit me with it right now. So I would say that's been a revelation. Just seeing and realizing how some guys are paying attention, because I mean, we're both men and we know how men could be when it's things that we may not feel we need, but you may hear and see like, oh yeah, yeah, I know I need to do that. Oh yeah, that's something good they're doing. I may tap into that. It was funny. I was in I was in the store over the weekend, and whenever I'm out, I have the "Bro, you doing a good job" cards, the card I had when I was out with you. But I did not have my card, and I usually, because I'll talk to a tree out in public. So it's this guy in line, and I'm like, damn, I don't have my card, but I do have the QR code on my phone. So he's checking out in front of me. I'm like, hey, I see you with your kids. You're doing a good job. I'm like, by the way, I'm Mod. I have a dad brand. I don't have my card, but you can scan this QR code, show you everything about us. And after he scans it, he says, wait, you're the dude from the news. You were on the Queen City News, right? And he's like, yeah, I saw that, man. And I have been meaning to tap in with y'all, but I didn't know how. So I'm so happy I just ran into you in the store. So I think as of now, that's been a moment where it's like complete stranger, and it's like, hey, I saw it. I love what you're doing, and he was saying the same thing. I've been here for a year. I don't know a lot of people, especially guys with kids, and I just want to be around, like-minded individuals. So it's the things like that that just encourage me to keep going. Honestly,
Yeah, man. No, that's fantastic. And that's such an affirming moment when somebody's like, I've been
yeah,
trying to tap into you. I've been looking for you.
yeah,
And it's like, here I am, right?
yeah. Hey, I'm here.
like you said, God's not gonna let you miss that train. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
you didn't get the info? I'm gonna put him right behind you on the
Yeah.
checkout line.
And the funny thing is, I'm very prayerful, but I was extremely intentional this week, and I was praying on things, and I always just pray for clarity because with everything that's going on, like you said in the beginning, you come up with these business plans, and it goes your way, but then life happens, so it's like you're kind of in the loop, and you're just going around
Mhm.
and going through the motions. So I was just very intentional this week, like, God just really showed me because everything's doing good. Because I feel like I'm at that place where I can feel everything going good and see it. And I'm like, I don't want to mess up the momentum. So,
Yeah.
God, make sure I'm doing things the right way. And I prayed that Wednesday or Thursday night. I said that in prayer. And it was like the days after that, I just kept having so many reaffirming moments, like random people messaging me on Instagram. It was a gentleman that reached out to me about Active Dad. He's not even following me on Instagram, but he was like, "Hey, I want to tap in this area. Do you guys have any dads?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll shoot you this link. Drop your information. I'll have the tribe leader reach out to you." So when things like that happen, man, it just shows you around the journey that you may not be able to see it right now, but just keep going, and everything will come full circle for you.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I love it. It's sticking to the plan and keep pushing
Yeah,
forward. And when you start to see the fruits of your labor come into fruition,
yeah,
you wanna be a good steward of that opportunity. And if God trusts you, in order for God to trust you with a lot, you have to first be a good steward with little. And as it
there you go.
grows, you have to continue to be
He'll
that.
give you more.
If iron sharpens iron, so does one man sharpen another. But if you're a man and you're alone or listening to this, then who sharpens you? What's going on, guys? Ted Phaeton here, host of the Modern Man podcast, also founder of the Noble Knights Mastermind Group. And I'm just out here encouraging you to find your circle. Maybe you're on a personal growth journey and nobody around you understands the new mentality that you're possessing. That's okay. You can find an online community that will pour into you, will navigate your goals and navigate your obstacles, share their experiences, resources, and more. Join the Noble Knights Mastermind Group and try us out for free to tap into a community of men helping each other scale up and reach their goals.
Check out themodernmanpodcast.com. I, I've been on this thing for a while when it came to obedience, and I would pray for just being obedient. Now, I used to think, okay, obedience was just surrendering and sitting down, letting things happen. But just like you mentioned, sometimes a parent needs a strong arm. When my mom would say, take out the trash, being
Yeah,
obedient was an action. I had to get up off the
yeah.
couch, grip that bag, carry it
Now.
up. Exactly, right? I didn't stutter, and I didn't say after your show. I didn't say after this
Yeah.
round of your game. Pause
I
it
said now.
now. um, but that's obedience, right? And a lot of us
Mhm.
we conclude obedience as, okay, I'm just gonna put my hands up and let what happens happen, but that's not the case. We
Yeah,
need to put in the work, and we need to try and take action towards that said goal. And a lot of times,
yeah,
when you mentioned earlier about giving ourselves grace along the way, being patient, we could be very result driven as men. We could just,
yeah.
okay, where's the results? Where's the results? You allude to
Hmm.
the cards, bro. You're doing a good job. How important
Yeah.
is that message? And great, it's an awesome tool for spreading some of what you're doing. But how important is that
Hmm.
message of, bro, you're doing a good job when you come across a fellow father?
That message is so good, Ted, because so many guys don't get reaffirmed through fatherhood. And that's something that I've realized on this journey when we did June is for Fathers was that last year? Yeah, well, we do June is for Fathers every month, and that's something that we've been working on to be like Father's Day. All right, cool. You know how it is for Father. You're a new dad. You see how it is for Father's Day. You
Yeah.
get an end cap. You get a little end cap in Target with some tools and everything. So with Units for Fathers, it's a whole month of just being extremely, um, I would say, just pouring in the guys and hosting the events and doing everything that we've been doing. And any guy that would follow the page, I would automatically message them like, hey, thanks for the follow. I just want to tell you, bro, you're doing a good job and nobody's told you. You would be surprised how many guys responded with like the eye watering emoji on Instagram, because they'll be like, bro, you had no idea like how much I needed to hear that. You had no idea, like, because what we also have to take into account is there are a lot of gentlemen growing up like self who didn't have the father figure, in house either consistently or at all. So our generation is doing a great job with fatherhood, but then lots of times, and even I struggle with it. You just feel like, am I doing this right? Or am I good enough? Or, can I do this better? Or should I do this better? So that's why I say grace is so important. But the bro, you're doing a good job is just something, a slogan, a tagline that we just try to speak to any guy that you come in contact with, because you just never know what someone is going through. And we've realized that those few affirming words will really turn around a day for a guy and just really make them feel appreciative and want to go harder for their kids.
Yeah, no, 100%. And the statistics and the research shows that millennial fathers, modern day fathers, they spend more time with their
Yeah,
kids. They take more of their parental leave to help in the home with
yeah,
their kids. They are helping more in the home with the parenting
yeah,
chores. And man, one of my favorite things, especially being here in Charlotte, I go to a brewery and like we talk about active dads and having the dad tribe.
yeah,
You know you're getting older. You
yeah.
know you're an active dad when you talk about your favorite brewery because the changing table in the bathroom's dope. Like they got a dope changing table. I'm like, yo,
Good changing table back there.
I'm like, man, their changing table in the bathroom. Like, go to that brewery,
That's
man. They're
good. They
fantastic,
they need
right?
to they need to put those around more, man.
Yeah,
And and that's even funny mentioning going out, because shout out to one of my friends, Mike Farmer. He has a dad tribe. He calls it paternity leave. A group of his friends, and he'll get us together. We go out and do things. But I can recall we did a play date like 2 years ago, somewhere near Valentine, and it had to be at least between 10 to 13 of us with our kids. And we did like this huge play day at this field. We just had like speaker, cooler, balls, footballs, frisbees for the kids. And there was a restaurant right near it, because he was like, we can play in the open field, then we can walk the kids to the restaurant. When we got to the restaurant, we got so much of, oh, mom made you guys, take the kids out and give her a break if she's tired. And I'm like, no, like we can. There are some guys that just want to get
yeah.
together with their kids and,
This was
and
our
have fun.
idea.
But yeah, like it's out. But the thing is, and I remember I was talking to an older coworker of mine. She was like, "What you guys are doing, so many people have never seen before." So it's really going to take a like society is accepting it, but she was just explaining to me like, because she's probably like in her 50s, 60s. It's like, but we've not seen so much of this, so that's why when you get little comments like that, don't be too offended. We're happy to see it, but it hasn't been a norm for so long. So with it happening now, we just have to normalize it more.
Yeah. And I think that's an affirmation in itself when they say like, man,
Yeah,
and you get to, it's an opportunity, right?
yeah,
I get that when I'm out with my daughter and they're like, oh man, you're such a good dad, or oh, you're babysitting your
yeah.
baby. I'm like, no, I'm watching my baby. It's my
Yeah,
baby.
I want to get out the house with the
Hey, we're
kid.
going for a little play date, but
Yeah,
it is an opportunity, right, to change their perspective because they're gonna see something they
hmm,
haven't seen before. Like you said, don't get offended. I don't get offended. I'm actually happy to
yeah,
be the outlier of what they're
yeah,
used to, and they'll be like, yeah, I'm here,
yeah.
and like you say, I exist. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey,
Yeah, I'm here.
next time you see me, I might have 4 or 5 of them with me, and you're gonna be like, oh man,
uh,
they're multiplying.
I have my two. That's it.
Well,
That's two. That
I'm
I
talking about
wanted three,
brothers. I'm
but
talking about brothers, not the
oh,
kids,
okay.
not the
I'm like,
kids.
nah.
Oh man, yeah. that's that's a whole nother conversation. Yeah, I'm
Whole
talking
nother
about a couple of the
conversation.
brothers with me.
Yeah,
I just
we
got
we
the
we gonna
one.
squad up.
maybe
We're
2,
gonna
but
squad up like the Power Rangers or the Justice League or
yeah.
something. Get out here with these
Assemble.
kids.
Hey, that's a logo design right there. The Active Dads
There
logo
we
design,
go.
like the
There
Avengers.
we go. Oh, there we go.
There you go.
There we go right there.
A couple last questions, Mod.
Hmm.
One is, what is a moment or a memory um with your kids that stands out, so, like right now, through the adventure?
Hmm.
What is a memory you've had? It could have been part of Active Dad, it could have been just you and the family, but what is a memory that really stands out that you'd like to share with the audience?
Um, just any memory with the kids that would
Anything,
stand out.
anything that just comes to top of mind,
I
top of heart.
A big moment. I'll try to do one for both of my kids. For one, recently with Lennox, because as we said, your kids they have their own personalities. But we've realized that my son is a little bit more introverted, like mom. Like he likes to go out and have fun and social, but he's a little bit more introverted. My daughter, as you can see, she's gonna bust in wherever. She's very wherever she goes, she meets a friend. And we were getting ready for ice cream with dad, and this is ice cream with dad a couple weeks ago, Charleston, and she said, uh, "Daddy, I want to have a YouTube channel." And I was like, you want to have what? Because she's watching all these ninja kids and whoever families on YouTube. And I'm like, I don't know. She's like, yeah. And then she said, well, I want to talk on the microphone like you and your bros, like you do. Like, you got, and I'm like, okay, all right, I
Yeah.
can't tell the girl no. And then she's like, yeah, I see you talking, doing podcasts and stuff. So, stuff like that. Like I told you, it made me feel good because it's like that exposure moment. Just because, like I said, my kids they came on me to some podcasts and recordings, and they'll like see me doing things and interviews, and they watch my stuff on TV and like, Daddy's on TV, Daddy's on TV. So, those are feel good moments, and I would say uh feel good moment as a dad for me with my son was when he began talking. So Landon, he was nonverbal until he was about um 4, I want to say. And it's like that's just the I want to say the struggles, but just what you go through, as a parent with having a kid on the spectrum. For one, as African Americans, we were not. I don't feel like we were properly educated about like autism and all sorts of things. And it's like, will your child talk? Because when you're dealing with autism, some kids, they're nonverbal. And with him, like he would probably only say like 4 words, and his I want to say his therapist would always tell us like still read to him, like even though he can't say anything, still read to him. Even though he can't do this, continue to do those things. And kids are still listening and learning, even if they aren't verbally speaking. And all of his therapists and teachers would always tell us like, he's gonna speak. And I'm churchy. I'm a church boy, and I remember going home. My old pastor prayed for him. He was like, "Stop worrying about him. Like that boy's gonna talk." He said, "Matter of fact, you're gonna have to stop him talking one day." And I'm like, "Okay." And it was literally like he would just say like the little things, and then like one day he literally just woke up and just started talking, and it was just like, hold on, like it wasn't at first. It's like, hey, it's like Daddy, like this. I'm like, okay, cool. Like then he came back and said something else. So I'm just sitting here like, okay, cool. So and like now, if you're ever around, Landon's gonna ask you so many questions and so many like he's gonna be like, hey, like, do you know what this is? And like I learned about this animal. And do you know? And I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, son. But it was just a good feeling because like I told you, being a parent, a first time parent, and this is my oldest kid, so this is my first time parenting, you don't really know how to handle these things. And he literally woke up one day during COVID and just started talking and going and going and going. And now like some days I'm like, Landon, Daddy, give Daddy a moment. But in the back of my head, I'm like, you know what? He catching up. He trying to
Hey,
catch up for lost.
yeah. I was like, you prayed for this.
Yeah, you prayed for it, so let the boy talk. Sometimes I'm like, Landon, please give Daddy one moment. please get daddy a moment, all right. But so yeah, that was a really good fatherhood moment too.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you sharing that with us, man, and it's huge because you can only imagine going through that process, and a lot of parents thinking,
Yeah.
okay, well, then what's going on? And my wife and I, we were even
Hmm.
doing that just to share some research I found in terms of they mentioned, you know, verbal communication is not a measure of intelligence. Right. So a
Yeah.
lot of times parents will conclude like, okay, is there an intelligence problem? But that actually has nothing to do
Yeah.
with each other. One's language, the other, like your kid is a genius.
Hmm.
They just haven't chosen to speak yet. And like you said,
Hmm.
once he started talking, he probably gathered enough information on the world on his own. Now he's like, I need to extract more information. I got to start asking questions. I've observed as much as I can observe. Now I'm going to pry.
It's go time. It's go
Exactly.
time. All right.
Yeah, I've heard enough. Now I have some thoughts. Oh man. Um Mod, I want to make sure that the audience can connect with you, follow you, rock with you, and support. What
Yeah.
are the best links and locations for them to go?
Best ways on Instagram. It's the the line. I'm such
The
a
username.
grandpa now. On the yes, the underscore. There we go.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, is underscore active dad on Instagram, or the underscore mod fathers personal Instagram to connect with me on there. And then you can always check out my website www.theactivedad.com. That'll have you up to date with events, merch, and a whole lot of other cool stuff. We're going to be updating. We have like a physical health component on there. Also have a mental health with some mental health tips as well on there as well. And we're in the works of adding a lot of other cool things to make it just like a one-stop shop for guys to just go and check out what we have going on, but then also some resources for them on their fatherhood journey.
Fantastic. And I'll have those links in the show notes for them to go right through it, man. I appreciate you having those
Got you.
resources available. Last question, and I save it for last.
Hmm.
It's usually the heaviest one. What is something
Uh-oh.
you've seen or something that's happened to you that shapes the way you view the world as a man?
Mm. Come on, Ted. That's the knockout punch right there. Um, what is something I've seen? Repeat it for me. I'm analyzing.
Something you've seen or something that's happened to you that shapes the way you view the world as a man.
I would say this may sound dark, but I've had a lot of loss in life, like people wise. By the age of 30, by the no, really I would say 32. Yeah, by the age of 32, realistically, I've already lost like 1/3 of my family. I don't have a big
Mm.
family
Sorry, man.
either. So yeah, so with that, I always tell people I lost my little brother 2 years ago to a drunk driver, and that was like the knockout punch for me. Like it really took me aback because I'd also lost my she was like a cousin sister. My she was my first cousin, but how we were raised, like, it was like we're like siblings almost because how her
Mm.
and my mom were, and her mom's was. But I lost my brother to a drunk driver 10 years after I lost my cousin to a drunk driver,
Mm.
which was something honestly to this day. She died 2012, but I still have a hard time. So with that, it it shaped my lens on things because I just feel like we're all on borrowed time. I feel like you should want to live a purposeful life. The things and the gifts and the ideas that are placed within you, you should always, just push through and do those things because the time that we think we have, we really don't have. And B, my brother and my cousin were to me some of my biggest supporters. Like he really admired me, looked up to me, and these are things that I didn't realize until he passed. But the same thing on my cousin, like she was just my biggest supporter, like cheerleader. And the week before she passed, she told me, she said, you're gonna be somebody one day, and I don't know what, but don't worry about it because I'm gonna be here to spend that money with you. But it's gonna happen one day. So it's like the things like that, and it's like with life I'm doing pretty well for myself at 35. So just thinking about the journey of everything I've experienced and knowing that the two people that to me were some of my biggest supporters that I really leaned on and loved and supported the most aren't here, it messes with me so much sometimes. So with that, it just changed how I look at life. I'm really big on figure it out, do it anyway. You know, if you don't have the resources to do it, figure it out, lean on some guys that may have it. But it just overall taught me that life is too short to just live. And something that my little brother will always say is, don't stress it because it is what it is at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So those are things that I just, I keep close and dear to me, and I just ball it up and just keep running this race of life, man.
Yeah, man. Fantastic. Father of Landon and Lennox, founder of
Yes,
Active
sir.
Dad, Modd Torrance, aka Modd. Man, thank you for being on the show, brother.
Hey, man, appreciate it, bro. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be on your platform, bro.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I'm glad we got to link up too, because we had to move
Yeah,
around a couple times and we got it in.
we've been busy. Hey, man, we can't be no shade. We can't be bums and have nothing going on and just get up when we want to. But when you got a lot of stuff going on, it's like, oh, what about this thing? Well, it's kind of like that meme that says when you're in your 30s trying to link up with one of your friends, it's like, hey, what are you doing next month on this day?
But listen, we were some persistent brothers and we made it happen, and I'm glad we did.
Yeah, we made it happen,
definitely
bro.
a lot more connections for us to be had moving forward, man. I'm gonna share some of the gems that you said along the way. A lot of people listening, they're either working out, cleaning, or they're active dadding as they're listening, which that's why we support. That's why I take the notes so they don't have to. But if I don't see a resolution or solution, then what am I going to do? Right? We started off with Modd talking about being just that entrepreneur. If you don't see the resolution or the solution within your life, are you the man that's going to pick up the tools and build that solution from the ground up? Being able to connect with others. So many of us are running a solo race. We're the lone wolves, and we can only go so far. Sure, we can go fast, but we can only go so far alone. Our problems are not our own. When you have a community, when you have a brotherhood, when you have trusted advisors to lean into, suddenly you have what's called that mastermind effect, where multiple minds can approach one problem and the experience of others become the experience of yours as well. Fitness gives clarity. How therapeutic is it for you to be able to lift some weights, throw some heavy weights to take the weight off of your shoulders, and then pour it into those brothers at an early time in the morning or maybe after work, but at a trusted time where you know that you're working on yourself and those around you are working on themselves too, and give you an opportunity to share what's going on. Pull your kids into the workout, stick to your routines. If you are an active dad and the kid has entered into your life, they're going to do what you do, not what you say. So pull them into some of the behaviors and the activities and find out how to make them a part of what your routines are. The advice Modd had for the new fathers, those fathers, take your time, give yourself grace, always tweak your plans, support your partner, and enjoy the ride. Some of those very key advice that I even received too in that realm. And then find and create common interests with your kids. And then fathers need affirmation and recognition. Dad, you're doing a good job, bro. And maybe give that same affirmation to another dad that you see out there. Make sure to connect with Modd because, as we said, stretch forward, become an active dad, find the community of other people. You could hop in the show notes. And as Modd said, life is too short to just live. Find your purpose, fellas, and chase after it. That's what this podcast is all about. That's what we're all about here. So I'm going to encourage you to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure to follow Modd, follow myself. Reach out if you need any support. We have the links available for you guys. And share this episode with somebody else you know can get value from it. Somebody else who needs to be part of a brotherhood, part of a community. You have two guys here running men's communities, and whichever one you resonate with the most, please feel free to hop in. I am not offended. I just want you to get that work, get that community. And of course, guys, tap in, leave us a rating to let us know how we're doing. That's the only way we can improve. And as I always say at the end of the episode, everybody wants the sunshine, but they don't want the rain. But you can't get the pleasure without first the pain. Let's grow.